Okay.
Yeah, that interests me a lot. I find that
Yeah,
it's a
Ooh,
very rich
oh, no.
area.
yeah, that's my
Okay,
things. I
okay.
mean, yeah, UFO section here is intentionally overburdened because I want it to be like overrepresented.
Okay. 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 Oh. Okay. All right. Great. Okay. Thanks. All right. Can I just turn off the lights? Is that possible?
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks. Thank you. Okay. Welcome to the table. I'll be your game presenter until the next rotation. Please, place all of your side bets and bet behinds before we begin. Those side bets do make a difference. In the end, all pre-decisions may happen before the first hand is dealt. Insurance is offered as a side bet only if the dealer has a blackjack, like any side bet. This is independent of your original pre-decision, only offered if the dealer shows an ace. At once, you will have rescued your lesser hand while insurance plays out. Blackjack insurance plays out 2-to-1 odds and is always offered before the deal is checked out. And their own cards, yes, insurance seems like a truly desirable option when the dealer shows an ace. But as we learned with many other things, insurance suggests that losing bet in the long term, and best case scenario would be that the value of your cards is higher than the dealer's. Remember to have fun. Bear with me while I perform the shuffle. Relational probability allows for constant change, for random variables to feel logical as they combine exterior-based representations based on projections carried out by individuals who, based upon inference alone, align with statistical domains or relational webs, which dictate probability moving forward, determining new correlations, which can be seen all around us. Expectation is an omission of circumstance. Allow for each player to match representation and feel logical. Feeling logical allows for both player and presenter to become whole. Playing a game with 4% disadvantages allows more precise variables to coexist with other ones that seek determination through highly manipulative measures. Playing is manipulative. A common belief is that inexperience harms presenter or player. It has been proven that the order of the cards has no drastic effect on your chances of winning. Sure, an unskilled player at your table can be frustrating, but focusing on your own move will be more beneficial than worrying about what they do wrong in order to win. To focus on winning is just frustrating. Harm is necessary for all players and games to be played. Both player and presenter must be equally harmed, so drastic elements are made possible, and all precious games continue to exist. There are no warnings before outcomes. The parameters must always be respectively overseen. The right to be harmed is a significant one. Only through consistent harm is a slower process possible. In the same way, there are negative influences on players who sit at the same table. There are negative influences on those who present games. Every game presenter faces the potential to be a greater negative influence than a player respectively. This is largely due to variables, but partially due to the human error. A negative influence is as fluid as the intentions of those who sit at the same table as the presenter. A negative influence is a rearrangement of the delicate tension that is always a presence at the table. The rearrangement causes all respective parties to avoid all emotion. There is a castle full of all what it takes to pierce all of the echoes at the table, and this is what they call rearrangement. Doing what we have expected it to do the whole time, because we have avoided all emotion long enough. Slowly, a steady flow of new factors influence decision making. Each player wants something different, yet every player wants something similar. Between each commonality exists reasoning of scorched disquiet. Neither outcome is permanent, but there is memory in the history of outcomes, and despite our outrageous claims, the exterior lens can be seen inside all of memory. This is both helpful and harmful at once, as the circle of control refuses to be fully examined past all moments of actual, genuine concern. The difference between player and presenter depends on intention. The player seeks attention. The presenter seeks indifference. The indifference is special because there are no consequences when games are prepared and prearranged. Indifference is the best friend of the aggressor and the secret admirer of the victim, yet both deserve equal praise at the helm of indifference. Intention yields outcome, yet there is no fascination less important than one which avoids outcome. There is a special choice left to all those undecided. Those who surrender are kept beneath patterns of that special choice left to syringe back into the place of progress, of being, the progress of seeing, of going about, a new progress and process of less choice and more reasoning. This is the only chance I've taken to double down on the way I have treated those around me. Call me another one of the great dumb wilderness called chance. Some of you have perspired. Some of you have come unwilling to come back to the intentional place that willingness provides for the dealer and the player alike. And we are not all one similar value. No. Every person has a different risk assessment, and every risk assessment has a different quid pro quo deal ratio. My point is, we are not put on this earth to heal. We're not put on this earth to love. And maybe, if you despise the pattern, you wouldn't disagree so much, that the question lies not in the answer so much as the ability to acquiesce losing the straight flush to the dealer's 5 of diamonds. The 5 of diamonds only allows the player who leaves the game to allow the dealer the upper hand, witnessing the persuasion that is known as the game of trust. Every expression is rendered useless when a player surrenders. The task is an incomplete one, and for that, the other players and the dealer alike may make many passing judgments, which can and should influence the other players. The role of the influence is magnetic, like a bubble of staggered time. The time is falsified time. This player can't be trusted. Even if every chance has the seal that has been broken, if there are unusual methods being worked out, there are usually surprising outcomes. If a player believes in his own fate as the smallest role in corpse-like nature of the game, then that player may influence other players, and that influence will counterbalance that of the dealer's influence always. Even if you did lose the last hand, and if you are claiming the dealer is a scammer, you are not being realistic with the truth. Not only am I the dealer, but I'm the scammer. And you would be the same if you were in my position. And even if you know how close you can be to a push on a split, you will always hit and always want more when you have enough showing too many. Even if you did have a problem, and if I did have to legally notify someone as you are being a danger or threat to everyone else, you know, as well as myself, that I would never do that. I wouldn't expect you to think that as I am just here for one reason and one reason only, to make you whole again. When we finally become whole again, we can believe again. All I wanted to say is all you wanted to hear. And by hear, I mean listen to the last few words you might care to learn. The unnamed finally do have a name, and that name is the fly in the ointment that begs for the low card from the middle of the shoe. And the shoe is in the middle, so why would you expect anything other than a face card or something useless? Forever the pervert. Coming back to that campsite known as a royal flush, I disregarded all personal responsibility in hopes to discover the memory. And if these walls could talk, they would beg for forgiveness. All to find out that these piranhas you've been feeding won't ever go away. And that's what piranhas are. Sharp-toothed dwellers for rapid puncture and searing. If I were guilty of a similar crime to that of the dealer, which I am, hold me responsible to the strictest severity, my countrymen. We all bleed in the end, so let it be known I am not letting anyone else see that anything but red as guilt is always visual, and the guilt always emphasizes their role in every crime by appearing as obvious as possible. We all bleed in the end. A memory. Everyone is loud, the energy is frantic, and there are over 73 individual conversations all happening between one dealer and an LED screen with an ever-changing chat log. The situation keeps changing. Someone in the chat writes, I want to like you, but every time you always pull a face card out. It's either a dealer blackjack or 21. Come on. Every opportunity comes with a risk. Take yourself for granted. From time to time, to realize this isn't about you anymore. Every winning chance seeks the disapproval of others. And the nonchalance of the dealer's choice is much to the shock of the rest of the table. And you always deserve less of what you've been given. The dealer always deserves more. The house exists. There are few chances to set up after witnessing a straight flush wasted on more than once. Always surrender if you have less than a face card in a situation like this. If the dealer seems untrustworthy, if the dealer is anything like me. Do not try to match a face card. And keep in mind, you deserve more than what you expect. So always expect less. It is expected that you will lose. If you care visibly enough to win, the undying gesture is a crushing silence and a fresher debt relief program under the breathless and ecstatic hue of another hand. Everyone says a surrender is surprising. So when going into an explanation for the impending doom of an eventual loss, that is neither their personal loss nor the loss of the table. The reality is, everywhere we have already been has expected or has already been expecting to lose and is expecting disaster. But the truth is, we haven't been anywhere. Ever. So the reality and the truth is, we're completely and entirely inconsequential. And when it comes down to what we can expect to happen next based upon what has already happened, it's inconsequential. If you are always hitting on 13 or 14, it isn't always the dealer's fault. And if you're always showing too many, you saw how I shuffled the cards before I began this evening. There are no tricks up my sleeve. I'm not interested in tricking you. I just want to show you to win. Please, win the next hand, and then the following hand, and then the following hand. My shuffle is random. The tendency to blame the dealer is rooted in the tendency to keep losing and blame others for everything that has gone wrong around you. The vortex in the sky does not accept those with too many or those with not enough. The way you give up on finding the things you love is related to the way you are rooted in fear. Fear is not a motivator in any game with multiple players. Endlessly. You calculate the known responses. Each one of them, singular yet hyper-aware of the opening it came from. This calculated effort disturbs the principle of suggestion. Yes, the flower pot. A response to dwindling confidence reserved in disjunction. This yields no momentary aversion to crisis, yet there we are in the forecast of misprojection, of jerky remarks. Bitter in Rome, temperature we come to the rest stop. That is known as the game. Every chance is present. When you give up, you only threaten yourself. When you keep playing the game, you threaten everyone, forever. All chances make suggestions impotent. When you leave the earth, do you think your lack of risk will be helpful? Thank you. Oh,
It had to happen.
it's all paperbacks, my friend.